Let's say that I'm interested in building a chatbot that can order some pizzas for you. Then I might get some sentences like this one. I want to buy 2 large mushroom pizzas with extra cheese. Then there's some information that I would like to parse from this sentence. So let's annotate some of that. There are 2 large pizzas being ordered, so there's an amount and a size. I would say that a mushroom pizza declares the type. But there's also some extra information about the topping. Sometimes you can have extra cheese or without cheese. So that's something that we can annotate as well. And all of this describes a product that people would like to buy. So this, I think, is a nice way to annotate these nested substrings that we would like to detect. So that's pretty cool, and we can train algorithms for this. But if I think about all the information I would like to extract here, then this is not sufficient, because it's not just these substrings that I want to detect. I probably also want to say something about the intent of this sentence. I can imagine that sometimes the user wants to order a pizza, but maybe they will also greet or ask for frequently asked questions, like where's the nearest pizza place, etc. So what I would like is this user interface, but with this extra bit over here that allows me to just attach a class to the sentence as well. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can implement exactly this extra interface using the blocks feature inside of Prodigy. All right then, I am now inside of Visual Studio Code. I have this recipe.py file, and here I have my custom recipe that builds the interface that I want. The interface is called span and textcat because I'm doing span annotation as well as text categorization. And the recipe has a few inputs. There's a data set that I'll be writing to. There's a language that I'll be using for the tokenizer. And I've got this file path with examples that I can annotate. And in this video, I'll be using this examples.json.elf file over here. But inside of this function, I've got a annotation interface defined. And the main part that's important here is this part over here that says blocks. You see, inside of Prodigy, you can stack different annotation interfaces together using this blocks feature over here. And if you set the view ID in this final dictionary equal to blocks, then you're also able to pass these blocks configuration that allows you to just combine interfaces as you see fit. And in this case, I'm using the spans manual interface as well as the choice interface. If you're going to be doing this yourself, by the way, you can go to the Prodigy docs to this annotation interfaces section over here, and then you can have a look at what kind of data is expected when using a specific interface. So if you want to know more about spans manual, you can select that, and you can also explore different interfaces here. But I'll be attaching this choice interface, which attaches this choice UI that allows you to attach a class. Now, the reason I want to point your attention to this documentation is that it also comes with an example of what the JSON should look like in terms of the task definition. So for example, one thing that you can clearly see here is that we need to add options. And these options will actually be the options that Prodigy will visualize for us. So my custom recipe, if I now go back to Visual Studio Code, you can see that it's using the choice annotation interface here, which also means that I need to attach these options, which is happening in this custom function over here. The way that these are attached is I'm loading in a stream from my examples file. I'm making sure everything is nice and tokenized by using this add tokens helper. But then I'm adding these options because that's something that the annotation interface requires. And the options that I'm adding are just being added in this function. I have a list of options that I think are going to be reasonable for this chatbot. But this is what's making it easy for me to first have a span manual interface and followed by this choice interface. Now, one thing to point out, though, is that technically this choice interface will also render text unless you specify text equal to none. The documentation goes into more depth here, but the reason why I set it to none here is because the span interface already shows me the text, so I don't need to see that twice. So with that said, let's now quickly run this Prodigy recipe. And when I now open the page, we can see that the annotation interface is different. Again, I can annotate the amount and the size, the type and the topping with the product as well. And now you can also see that there's a choice interface at the bottom here. And I've also configured some keyboard shortcuts. So I can say, yeah, this is going to be a purchase intent, so I can hit the E key to select that. So that's nice, and also something I want to mention explicitly, because you notice that there are some keyboard shortcuts for all of these spans over here. I have these numbers. But inside of Prodigy, I've also customized the shortcuts for all of these choices. And the part of code that handles those shortcuts is at the bottom over here. I've expanded it a little bit, but here you can see that inside of this final dictionary, inside of the config key, there is this key map by label key. And here you can see that for each and every span in my span manual interface, I added a number. And for the first choice, second one, etc., I have also added the QWER shortcut. And this is a nice little addition, I think, to the user interface. But yeah, with that done, I have this labeling interface that is able to give me annotations that look like this. And what I think is just really kind of nice is that I have this one annotation that contains both of these spans, as well as the intent in a single interface. So pretty cool.